Now, when you go on a cycling holiday, chances are you'll probably want to find a bike-friendly hotel that will have secure storage for your bike, maybe a mechanic, and even somebody who can take you on a tour of the local area. But here at the Flandrien Hotel, which opened in the summer of 2021, you get a little bit of a different experience. Yes, you get the mechanic, you can get the guided tours, but here, with co-owner and founder Jamie Anderson, you will have access to one of the biggest and, if I'm honest, most impressive personal bike collections in the world. Because here at the Flandrien Hotel, not only do you get to look at bikes ridden by the likes of Fabian Cancellara, Tom Boonen, Johan Brunel, you also get to ride them. So let's check it out. Oh, and by the way, that is a genuine Peugeot team car.
Yeah, so I've got two really special looks here. The first one is a La Claire team bike from the mid-1980s, which was really the first carbon race bike used in the pro peloton, and this one was used by the Look La Claire team. Actually, at that time, Look entering the market for pedals because they brought the first click pedals onto the market. They wanted to promote the pedals, they sponsored a pro team, and of course that was a team of Le Monde and Hinault. And lots of drama around that team, of course, as well, the Frenchman and the American. But an amazing bike. It was actually created by a company called TVT, which was a carbon pioneer, carbon innovator. So a really unique bike, and that actually evolved into Look licensing the patents for carbon and entering into their own production. So what you see behind the La Claire bike, which is this one, which is the KG96, following the KG86, this is another team bike, an Onse team bike, and this one was actually ridden by Melchior Mauri to win the 1991 Vuelta a España. Also, as you see, the technology evolving here, you've got the simplex down tube shifters, and here now we're moving into the ergo power levers here from Campagnolo. Of course, everybody loves them, the Delta brakes, which are beautiful, but were actually pretty useless in terms of stopping power. So two really, really historical bikes here, which really transformed the industry, of course the cycling industry, from steel, of course that aluminium period, but ultimately into the carbon that we see today. Yeah, it's amazing. I found this amazing condition, Specialized leg, which is really historically significant in the cycling industry, because of course Mike Signard, who was the founder of Specialized, was a mountain bike guy. And he'd been, of course, doing extremely well with the stump jumper, which he really mass market mountain bike, and he wanted to get into the world of road cycling. So he made up some steel bikes, but then he saw the arrival of Look and carbon, and he created the vision actually to try to create an affordable carbon bike for the masses, because the Looks, of course, were extremely expensive at that time. So he actually went to Taiwan and partnered with a small Taiwanese company called Merida, which of course we all know today. And this was the output of that collaboration. So what was really significant about it, of course, was that the bike was designed in the USA, but assembled in Asia, in Taiwan, which of course became the model for the industry in the subsequent years. And this is really actually what flipped the industry towards the dominance of the Americans and the Asian manufacturers, particularly in Taiwan, and the relative decline of the Europeans, who still manufactured in high-cost Europe and couldn't compete ultimately with these amazing bikes coming out of the US and Taiwan. Yeah, well, actually, I've curated my collection always around three themes. I mean, the first one was innovation, which is absolutely what you saw there with the Look bikes, with the Specialized, something significant in the industry. The other overlap with that, of course, are race bikes, because I've also got Onse bikes, I said La Claire bikes, I've got bikes with the Quick Step team, Rubber Bank, and so on. But the third sort of pillar of my collection is what I call my art collection, and they are really beautiful Art Deco bikes from my era, which is the late 80s. And I raced top sport level in Australia as a junior, and I raced my last national championships in 1988. I was from a family that didn't have a lot of money, but my parents, my brothers and sisters were so proud that I made it to the national level. They pulled their money together and they bought me a beautiful Italian bicycle. And that was this Cassini. Well, actually not this one, because I had the silver one that I got to get through uni, but I searched and I found this one a few years ago. So Cassini is a small maker in Verona, in the north of Italy, renowned for their beautiful Art Deco style, not just in terms of the paintwork of the bikes, but as you can see, incredible pantographing on the components. So, in today's world, a lot of people love to collect the Eddie Merckx courses or the Colnago Master Pews, but in my book, you can't go past the Cassini X Uno shoes. And remember what I told you about the flat insoles?
Yeah.
That's what Van Stalen changed. Huh? That's what he changed. And even today, if you saw the titanium, that generation next to the modern one, and just look at the angles, the different angles in the front. It's really, and the Australian, the differential, and of course stuff. It's just beautiful, okay? Fantastic. So, yeah, I like beautiful bike things. So actually, this is our Allan Peiper library. Allan's a very good friend of the Flandrien Hotel. He lives just a few kilometres from here, actually. So he drops in regularly for a coffee and a chat. As we go through, actually, I want to just very quickly talk about a very special little bike, which is this giant TCR, which actually is really remarkable because, again, like the Specialized Allais, this was a big shift in the industry. Because working with Mike Burrows, the British aerodynamics genius who was behind the Boardman Lotus bike, the Taiwanese giant, worked with him on designing a new generation of bike, and this was the first sloping geometry frame from the mid-1990s with all of the cool Burrows aerodynamic stuff. But more than that, what Giant went towards, which was absolutely transformational, was just 3 sizes: small, medium, large. And before this bike, what did you see? Bike manufacturers making bikes, creating jigs for these steel and aluminium bikes in half centimetre increments. So very complex from a manufacturing point of view, and of course very high cost. So that for me is a super special bike, not just by the fact that I think it's beautiful, but by the fact it really did change the industry. Yeah, and also for me personally, a very special bike because of course as a kid growing up in Australia in the late 1970s, early 80s, my heroes were Phil Anderson and Allan Peiper. As I mentioned, Allan is very close to this place. We have him visiting here often. So I've been searching actually for years for one of these, which of course is the Peugeot Apertus, which is the team edition bike from Peugeot, Reynolds 531 Professional. And amazingly, this bike from 1984, you can actually see it in the picture here being ridden by Allan, still has the original handlebar tape, the original saddle, the full French group set, because in those days the French didn't have a full group set like Shimano or Campagnolo, so the crankset is by Strumlight, the gears are by Simplex, and in this case the best German brakes on the market at that time were Wiedemann from West Germany. So yeah, just a really amazing bike, and I was super proud actually to show it to Allan himself when he came to visit us here at the Flandrien.
So Jamie, when and why do you collect these bikes?
Yeah, I think I've just always had a love and a passion for cycling, love and passion for innovation and design, and of course also a real passion for history. And that's something I take very seriously with my collection, is I really want to understand the provenance of the bike, where do they come from, who rode them. So I'm on the constant lookout. Now, the incredible luck I have living here in Belgium is that, of course, over the years, think about the last 50 years, there have been so many service courses, pro teams, pro continental teams here, from Godefroot with Telecom. The team Telecom, they had their service course here. So every now and then pop up on these second-hand sites, the Telecom bikes. I got one of Danilo Hondo, beautiful bike, Pinarello. Just a couple of weeks ago, I was looking on one of these second-hand sites and this bike popped up. You know, this is a Ridley ridden by Chris Warner. So this was the bike ridden by the American, and it popped up for sale, and there it was. And the crazy thing for me as an Australian, of course, I'm always looking for these bikes, especially from the Anglo-Saxon English-speaking riders, but for the local Belgians, this is just an old carbon bike ridden by some random American guy. So just incredible what you find here because of that mass of service courses. For example, just here in this area close to the Flandrien Hotel, Johan Brunel had the service course for US Postal, Discovery, Astana. So bikes like this one, you know, the US Postal Trek, there's dozens of these around. You know, I get people offering them to me all the time. Now again, for the local Belgians, this is kind of like an old carbon bike from US Postal. It's not a quick step bike, it's not a lotto bike. So again, I find a lot of them. However, when my American friends come to visit, of course it blows them away. They see the Horner bike, they see bikes of him, Cappy, Armstrong and others. So yeah, a very cool collection. But as you can see, as you look around the room, a lot of this is kind of work in progress. But it's also how I love to relax and spend my time. When I'm not busy with gas or out on my bike, then I spend a lot of time in my little cave here working on my bikes.
And what makes your bike collection special, Jamie?
Yeah, well, I think the thing that we really believe here in the Flandrien is that we really want to help people live their dreams. So every bike you see in this place is available to ride. We're not a museum, we're a bike collection. You know, so Alex actually, who's filming right now, he had a passion for Italian titanium. So this morning he took out, you know, our Bianchi S9 Nutter, just a classic of design, beautiful bike. And I could see the smile on Alex's face, you know, as he was heading off on that bike. And you know, it is really an incredible feeling for us to see. You know, we had a young kid here a few weeks ago. He was autistic. He was here with his parents, but a massive Tom Boonen fan. And his mum was telling him about how crazy he was about Tom Boonen. We happened to have one of the Tom Boonen VXRS limited edition bikes, the world champion bikes that was produced for Tom when he became world champion in 2005. So we pulled the bike down and we gave it to the kid to take a ride and have some photos with. And you know, when you see that and the emotion and the memories that kid's going to take away, it's just amazing. So, you know, anyone who's coming here to Flandrien, we ask who is your hero, what are your dreams, and what we try to do is to help people live those dreams, and part of that can be by riding one of our classic bikes. So of course for me as an Australian also very special to have some bikes here in the house from my Aussie contemporary heroes. We have two rubber bank bikes actually. This amazing giant TCR, which was the last generation mechanical Dura-Ace before Di2 came in. I think it's just fantastic. Still a great looking bike, great riding bike. But for me, a very special one is this one right here, which is the Rubber Bank Extreme Power of Matthew Hayman, of course, who won the Paris-Roubaix. But why is it special for me? This is not the bike that he rode to win Roubaix. This is one of the bikes that he rode to fail in Roubaix, or come far in from the front of Roubaix. And the reality is, you know, of course, Matt is an amazing guy. I know him personally. You know, 17 attempts before he won at Roubaix, and this bike is part of that history. So for me, yeah, really amazing, and certainly for all the Aussies that come and visit us here, a very special bike as well.